Today, I'll share details of one of the strangest and most audacious bank robberies in the world, which took place in Daejeon, South Korea, in 2019. About 140 kilometers south of the Seoul metropolitan area, a thief was ready to pull off a daring heist. He entered the bank fully prepared, showing no signs of nervousness or fear, as if he didn't even care if he was caught. It was clear that he had been planning this robbery for a long time, meticulously observing the bank and becoming familiar with all the procedures and small details. He knew that the police would need exactly 4 minutes to reach the scene after the alarm went off. 4 minutes is a very short time, posing a great risk to his life. But the thief was willing to take the chance, confident that the big reward was worth all the risks, as it would ensure him a comfortable life for the rest of his days. As part of his preparations, he bought a knife from someone he trusted very much. He didn't intend to use it, as his plan depended on the threat alone being enough. After months of planning, it was time for the operation. He walked in through the main bank door, and the robbery began. For those who are seeing me for the first time, welcome to the Robbers Hub channel. My channel offers exciting and thrilling documentaries about the stories of criminals. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive all the latest news. And today, I will tell you the strangest bank robbery story in history. The thief entered the bank and started walking between the customers and employees, his hand steady on the knife. There was no room for hesitation or retreat. He reached the nearest window and took a piece of paper out of his pocket, gave it to the employee, and told her that no one would be hurt if she did what was asked. She followed the instructions written on the paper exactly. The employee read the paper and was surprised, wondering about the situation and how he dealt with it so kindly. The young man seemed respectful and calm, and she hesitated a little. But when she saw the knife, she did what was asked. Time began to pass, and it wasn't long before the customers noticed that something strange was going on. They saw the knife and were terrified, having no idea what this person's intentions were. Everyone was scared, and with each passing second, the tension increased. As expected, the police arrived at the scene less than 4 minutes after the thief entered the bank. The person who reported the police called them as soon as the thief entered the bank and gave the paper to the employee. But who was he, and how was the report made? It was expected from the start. How can a bank be robbed in 4 minutes? The police surrounded the place, and the thief faced them. He didn't have many options, and no way to escape. They asked him to put down the knife and get on the ground. The closer the police got to him, the more they noticed something strange. The man was standing still, holding the knife without any reaction. Suddenly, he did something strange. He raised the knife and put it on his stomach and stabbed himself, but nothing happened to him. The police approached him and discovered that the knife was not real. They attacked him, grabbed him, arrested him, and took him to the police car. The bank, its customers, and employees are now safe, and the police have begun questioning everyone who was in the bank at the time. Everyone confirmed that the robber was strangely calm, and even the police noticed this unnatural calmness when they entered the bank. The young man made no sudden or violent moves, which surprised everyone. But the most bizarre thing came from what the employee who called the police and reported the robber said. It might seem natural for her to report it since she was the first one to deal with him. But the truth was more complex. From the beginning of the story, I told you that the robber entered the bank with a well-rehearsed plan and without any signs of fear or tension. He went straight to the nearest window and gave the employee a piece of paper, telling her in a calm voice that no one would be hurt if she followed the instructions written there. The note simply asked her to call the police. Yes, the robber wanted to get caught, which surprised both the employee and the police. He chose this specific bank because it was the closest to the police station, and he knew the police would arrive within 4 minutes. If he had chosen another branch, it would have taken longer, and things might have deteriorated in a way he didn't know how to handle, as he wasn't a professional criminal. His goal was to get caught as quickly as possible, because there was a specific reward he was trying to get, a reward that justified all this careful planning and risk. But what was this reward, and why did he want to get caught? In the interrogation room, the detective was determined to find out the real reason behind this strange behavior. There was a strong feeling that there was something more to it than just a bank robbery. The detective started asking the robber about the note and the fake knife he was carrying. Why did you do what you did today? And why do you want the police to catch you? At first, the robber didn't give a clear answer, but simply said that he was a thief who tried to rob a bank and deserved to go to jail for a year, and that he wasn't afraid of jail. But this answer wasn't convincing to the detective. There was something mysterious yet to be revealed. The detective began using all possible methods to find out the truth. Sometimes he reassured him, and other times he threatened him, all with the experience and expertise of dealing with criminals. Under constant pressure, the robber gradually began to weaken. Finally, after hours of interrogation, the robber broke down and told the detective the whole truth. He revealed his real motives behind this fake robbery and the goal he was trying to achieve by getting caught quickly. What John said was unbelievable. He claimed he had a problem, and the only way to solve it was to rob a bank and get arrested. The thief's name was John, and he had recently been fired from his job, which devastated him completely. He tried finding work elsewhere but was constantly rejected. The unemployment rate in South Korea was skyrocketing, but why would someone who lost his job and needed money want the police to catch him? This was on everyone's mind. John continued his story and said, "I don't want money, and I'm not a criminal. I was raised much better than this, but my options were few. After losing my job, I spent most of my time at home. A man in his 30s, still living with his mother. The situation was extremely frustrating. I suffer from chronic back pain. The pain is unbearable and, more importantly, constant and never stops. Without a job and financially broke, I couldn't afford treatment. With the rising unemployment rate, there was increased pressure on the country's healthcare system, and I could no longer get approval for my treatment. My insurance completely refused, and my anxiety was extremely severe. I could no longer bear it. With no options left, and not wanting to stay in front of my mother in pain all the time while she was sad for me, there was only one place where I could get help. One place where I could get free treatment. Prison. The government in South Korea used to provide comprehensive health care for its citizens, but after the unemployment rate increased, this health care was only for those who work and pay taxes. The rest had to go to private hospitals, which are very expensive. Therefore, prison became the first place people thought of when they needed health care. Prison offers excellent health care, and people started doing anything to get in there because they simply couldn't afford the costs outside. Imagine the policeman's shock and disbelief. How could things get to this point for someone? Stealing was John's only way to ensure health care in prison. If his plan succeeded, he would get the free treatment he needed. But his plan didn't work as expected. His confession to the police made them charge him only with intimidation. He didn't steal any money or harm anyone. The note he gave the employee showed his intentions from the start. In the end, John returned home with his mother, wondering where the plan went wrong. How did he end up back as the same unemployed person without money? It was late 2019, and the situation remained the same. Like any of us facing a tough life, he decided to try hard, find a job, and start anew. But unfortunately, as John and the world welcomed 2020, it was the year that almost made the entire planet stay at home due to the spreading disease.